Avoid this mistake if you want to live a fulfilling life. Have you ever found yourself overwhelmed by distractions, chasing approval from others, or stuck in a loop of wasted time? It's more common than you think, and yet it's one of the biggest mistakes we all make when striving for a more fulfilling life. If you want to truly live with purpose, to feel grounded, and to find real happiness, then you need to stop falling into these traps and start embracing habits that will actually serve you. In today's video, we're diving deep into the 7 anti-Stoic habits that are holding you back from living the life you deserve. Whether you're constantly fearing change, getting caught up in trivial worries, or seeking external validation, it's time to break free from these habits and transform your mindset. Stoicism teaches us powerful lessons about resilience, inner peace, and true strength. And by the end of this video, you'll have a roadmap to live with more clarity, courage, and joy. So let's start this journey of transformation together. Ready to shift your perspective? Let's dive in. Number 1, embrace change with courage. You know that feeling of excitement when something new is about to happen. Maybe it's the day you move into a new apartment or start a new job. There's a thrill in the air, right? The smell of fresh beginnings, the open road of opportunity ahead. It's like life is a new book, and you're turning the first page with anticipation. But let's be honest, sometimes there's also a whisper of fear. What if the new place isn't as great as you imagined? What if that new job doesn't work out? Suddenly that same excitement feels like it's being pulled in 2 directions, happiness and anxiety. Change can feel like a double-edged sword. One side of it sparkles with hope, and the other side, it can feel sharp, unknown, and uncomfortable. The thing is, we've all been there, right? From getting our first driver's license, to graduating high school, to even moments like changing jobs or cities. Life has a way of nudging us into the unknown. Let's take a quick trip down memory lane. Do you remember that summer as a kid, when the new school year was about to start? You were excited to meet your new teacher, maybe see your friends after a long break. But there was also that sense of dread, the homework, the pressure to fit in, the question of what's going to happen next. In those moments, you're caught between looking forward to something new, but also longing for the comfort of what you know. As kids, we felt that blend of excitement and nervousness, but we moved forward anyway. We didn't let it stop us. Now, fast forward to today. The truth is, as adults, we still feel that push and pull, even though we might not admit it. We cling to routines, familiar faces, and known surroundings because they make us feel safe. But change, it forces us to step out of our comfort zone, to evolve. So why do we resist it? Why does change feel like a challenge when we know deep down it can lead us to growth? Think about this. The ancient Stoics, people like Marcus Aurelius, faced a world constantly in flux. Wars, political turmoil, shifting landscapes, everything around them was changing, yet they didn't fear it. They leaned into it. They believed that the only constant in life is change, and by resisting it, we only create more discomfort for ourselves. It's not the change itself that causes the most pain, but our fear of it. Now here's where it gets interesting. What if we didn't just accept change, but embraced it? What if, instead of seeing change as a threat, we viewed it as a new beginning? A chance to reinvent ourselves, to learn, to grow. There's a certain curiosity in that, right? Imagine what could happen if you stopped fearing change and started seeing it as the wind in your sails. The question isn't, what if something goes wrong, but rather, what if something incredible happens? Number 2, let go of trivial worries. We've all been there. You're sitting in traffic, the minutes are ticking by and you're growing more and more frustrated. Or maybe you're stressing over an email you forgot to send or a comment someone made at a family gathering. It's like these little things get under our skin, and before we know it, we're spiraling, worrying about things that, when you really think about it, don't matter in the grand scheme of things. Take a moment. Think back to a time when something small completely took over your day. Maybe it was a text that didn't get an immediate reply, or someone cut in front of you in line. You were so focused on that one little annoyance that it ruined the rest of your afternoon. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? But here's the thing. Looking back now, does it still matter? Those little annoyances, those tiny inconveniences, they came and went. They probably didn't affect your life in any meaningful way. Yet in the moment they seemed so important. The Stoics knew this all too well. They believed in focusing on what truly matters and letting go of the things that don't. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most famous Stoic philosophers, had a simple practice. Whenever he felt overwhelmed by something, he'd ask himself, is this really necessary? If the answer was no, he'd drop it like a stone into the ocean and move on. Sounds liberating, doesn't it? Now I want you to think about your own life. How much time do you spend worrying about the trivial? How often do you let small, insignificant things hijack your mood? What if you could just let them go? Imagine how much lighter you'd feel. Imagine how much more energy you'd have to focus on the things that really matter, the people you love, the goals you're working toward, the experiences you want to have. But it's not easy, is it? We've been conditioned to stress over the little things. In our fast-paced world, it feels like everything demands our attention. And when we give in to those distractions, they drain us, one tiny worry at a time. But what if you could train your mind to filter out the noise? What if you could rise above the small stuff and see the bigger picture? Here's where curiosity comes in. What if the next time you felt yourself getting caught up in a trivial worry, you paused, zoomed out and asked yourself, will this matter in 5 years, 5 days, even 5 hours? If the answer is no, wouldn't it be empowering to just let it go? What would your life look like if you focused only on the things that truly mattered? Number 3, avoid the trap of seeking revenge. We've all been wronged at some point, haven't we? Maybe it was a friend who betrayed your trust, or someone who cut you off in traffic, or a co-worker who took credit for your idea. In those moments, the sting of injustice hits hard, and there's a natural urge to make things right, to get even. But what happens when we let that desire for revenge take over? Think about it. Have you ever been in a situation where you felt wronged, and your mind immediately went to, how can I get back at them? It's a human reaction. We want to restore balance, to make the other person feel what we felt. But here's the catch. Revenge rarely gives us the satisfaction we're looking for. If anything, it keeps us chained to the very thing we're trying to escape. Take a moment and reflect on a time when you sought revenge. Maybe you didn't act on it, but the thought was there. Now, think about how it made you feel afterward. Did you feel relieved, or did it just fuel your anger and frustration? The truth is, revenge is a cycle. You get caught up in it, and before you know it, you're stuck, reliving the hurt, the anger, the betrayal. It doesn't move you forward, it keeps you stuck in the past. Let's rewind to a simpler time. Remember when you were a kid, and someone took your favorite toy. Your first instinct might have been to snatch it back, maybe even break their toy in return. But did that ever solve the problem? Did it make you feel better in the long run? Probably not. It only escalated things. And as adults, the stakes are higher, but the principle remains the same. Revenge doesn't heal, it harms. It keeps the wound open, festering. The Stoics knew this well. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The best revenge is to not be like them." Let that sink in for a moment. Imagine if, instead of focusing on getting back at someone, you focused on being better, on rising above the situation. What if you could take that energy you're spending on revenge and use it to improve yourself, to grow, to move forward? Now, here's where the curiosity comes in. What would happen if you let go of the need for revenge? What if, instead of reacting to someone else's negativity, you chose to protect your peace? How different would your life look if you prioritized your own growth over getting even? What new possibilities would open up if you broke free from that cycle of retribution and focused on becoming the best version of yourself? Number 4, value your time. Stop wasting it. Time. It's the one thing we can't get more of. It slips through our fingers moment by moment, day by day. Yet, how often do we find ourselves wasting it? Scrolling endlessly through social media, binge-watching another season of that show, or procrastinating on something important. It's almost like time doesn't feel real until we realize we're running out of it. Think about the last time you sat down to do something important, but got distracted. Maybe you planned to work on a project or catch up with a friend, but instead you spent hours mindlessly browsing the internet or watching TV. Before you knew it, the day was gone, and with it, the opportunity to accomplish something meaningful. We've all been there. We've all fallen into the trap of thinking, I'll do it later. There's plenty of time. But here's a sobering thought. Time is finite. Every second that passes is a second we'll never get back. And yet, how many of us live as if we have all the time in the world? We complain about how fast time flies, but we act as if it's infinite. It's like binge-watching a show for hours and then wondering where the day went. It's not that we don't have enough time, it's that we don't prioritize it. Now, think back to a time when you used your time wisely. Maybe it was a weekend when you were fully present, spending time with loved ones or working on a passion project. Maybe it was a day when you tackled all your tasks with focus and energy, and by the end of it, you felt fulfilled and accomplished. Remember how good that felt? That sense of satisfaction when you know you didn't waste a single moment. Time is a gift, but it's also a responsibility. The Stoic philosopher Seneca once said, "We complain that our days are few, but act as if they were infinite." Let that sink in for a moment. How many times have we said we don't have enough time, but then squandered the time we do have? How often do we wish for more hours in the day, yet fill the hours we have with distractions? But here's where it gets interesting. What if you stopped wasting time and started treating it like the precious resource it is? What if you could look at each day as an opportunity to create, to grow, to connect with others? Imagine waking up every morning and knowing that today you'll use your time wisely. You won't waste it on trivial distractions. Instead, you'll invest it in things that matter, your relationships, your goals, your passions. Here's a question to spark your curiosity. What would your life look like if you valued your time the way you value your most prized possession? What if, instead of saying, "I don't have enough time," you started saying, "I'll make time for what's important"? How much could you accomplish? How fulfilled would you feel at the end of each day, knowing that you didn't let a single minute slip away unnoticed? Number 5, find inner strength, not external approval. How many times have you sought approval from others? Think about it. Maybe you posted a picture online and checked back every few minutes to see how many likes it got. Or maybe you dressed a certain way or said something in a conversation, hoping someone would compliment you. We all do it, don't we? There's this underlying desire to be validated, to feel accepted, to know that other people approve of who we are and what we do. It feels good, doesn't it? That rush when someone compliments your work or agrees with your opinion. It's like a hit of dopamine, a quick boost to your confidence. But what happens when the compliments stop? What happens when the approval you were looking for doesn't come? Suddenly that confidence fades and you're left feeling unsure, maybe even a little empty. Because in that moment, you weren't drawing strength from within. You were relying on the opinions of others to make you feel good about yourself. We've all been there. We've all wanted that pat on the back, that good job from a friend or a colleague. But here's the problem. When you rely on external approval to feel good about yourself, you're giving away your power. You're handing over the remote control of your happiness to someone else. And that's a dangerous game to play because people's opinions, they change. One day they'll love what you do and the next they won't. If your self-worth is tied to what others think, you'll be on an emotional roller coaster, always chasing validation but never truly feeling secure. Let's take a moment to reflect. Think back to a time when you did something solely for the approval of others. Maybe you took a job that wasn't right for you because it looked good on paper. Or maybe you stayed in a relationship because you didn't want people to think you were a failure. Now looking back, how did that feel? Did it make you happy in the long run? Or did you realize that no amount of external validation could fill the void inside? The Stoics had a concept for this. They called it the inner citadel, a fortress within yourself that's impenetrable to the opinions and judgments of others. It's the idea that true strength and happiness come from within, not from external sources. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, believed that you shouldn't let the noise of the world drown out your inner voice. You have everything you need inside you to feel confident, to feel strong, to feel worthy. Now, here's something to think about. What if you could stop seeking external approval and start finding that strength within yourself? What if you built your own inner citadel, where your sense of self-worth was untouchable by the opinions of others? Imagine how freeing that would be. You wouldn't need to chase likes, compliments, or validation from anyone. You'd know, deep down, that you're enough just as you are. So, here's a question for you. What would your life look like if you stopped caring about what others think? How much more confident, more grounded, more at peace would you feel if your happiness and self-worth came from within? What if, instead of seeking approval, you gave yourself permission to be authentically you? Number 6. Stop searching for problems. Life has a funny way of presenting us with challenges, doesn't it? There are ups, there are downs, and then there are those moments when everything seems to be going well, but we still find ourselves looking for problems. It's like we can't accept that things are good, so we start searching for what might go wrong. Sound familiar? Have you ever been in a situation where things were going smoothly, but instead of enjoying the moment, you found yourself worrying about what could go wrong? Maybe you were on vacation, but instead of relaxing, you were thinking about all the work waiting for you when you got back. Or maybe you were in a happy relationship, but instead of being present, you were waiting for the other shoe to drop. It's almost like we're hardwired to anticipate problems, even when they don't exist. The thing is, searching for problems is exhausting. It drains your energy, your joy, and your ability to be fully present in the moment. And more often than not, the problems we anticipate never actually happen. But in the process of worrying about them, we miss out on the good things that are happening right in front of us. Think back to a time when you were truly happy. Maybe it was a family gathering or a moment when you achieved something you'd worked hard for. How did it feel to just be in that moment without worrying about what might go wrong? Feels good, doesn't it? But how often do we allow ourselves to just enjoy the good moments without looking for the catch? The Stoics believed in focusing on what's within our control and letting go of the rest. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." What he meant was that we can't control everything that happens around us, but we can control how we respond. And when we stop searching for problems that don't exist, we free ourselves from unnecessary stress and anxiety. So what if you could stop being a detective in your own life, constantly looking for what might go wrong? What if instead of focusing on potential problems, you focused on the good things that are already happening? What would your life look like if you let go of the need to anticipate every little issue and just trusted that you could handle whatever comes your way? Here's something to think about. What if the next time you found yourself searching for problems, you paused and asked, "Is this something I can control? Is this even real?" Imagine how much lighter, how much more peaceful your life would be if you stopped chasing ghosts and started embracing the present. What opportunities for happiness and growth might you discover if you stopped looking for problems and started living fully? We've covered a lot today, from embracing change with courage to letting go of trivial worries and avoiding the trap of seeking revenge. These anti-Stoic habits can easily creep into our lives and prevent us from living with clarity and purpose. But the fact that you've made it this far means you're already on the path to transformation. You're here because you're serious about becoming stronger, more resilient, and more aligned with the person you truly want to be. If you've watched this far, drop a 100 in the comments, because that shows you're part of the top 0.01% who finish what they start. And if you're truly committed to improving your life, don't just stop here. Make sure to subscribe to the channel so you can keep growing with us. We're in this journey together, learning and evolving with each step. Let's continue building that mindset of strength and resilience, one lesson at a time.